Hello everybody, I'm the Barebow Brummy, and today I want to talk to you about arrows. I had to buy some new arrows this week because I've lost a couple, I've broken a couple, so I had to replace what I've got. And it got me to think about how you can save money on your arrows because, and this is especially true for beginners, they don't appreciate the fact that these things are considered consumables by most archers because you'll use them, you'll lose them, you'll break them. They have to be replaced pretty regularly. So if you can save money on them at any point, that's probably a good thing, don't you think? So what I've done is I've done a bit of research on it, and I've found that you can buy pre-made arrows or the parts to make your own arrows considerably cheaper than having them made for you. You can, if you want, contact your local archery store and you can have your arrows made custom for you. You can have them cut to the right length, your own coloured fletchings, your own coloured nocks, the particular points you want, and they'll do all that for you. But there's a premium to pay for that kind of service. But in the case of these ones, these are pre-made arrows, but they're the right spine for me. The only downside to pre-made arrows, and the same with buying shafts alone, is you have to cut them down to your own length, which is what we're going to do today. Now, if you want to cut your own arrows down, I can understand that for some beginner archers, it's a little bit of a daunting thing, start messing about chopping these things up, but it's not as difficult as you think it could be. You don't really need any fancy jigs or special tools to do this kind of thing. You can cut your arrows down perfectly okay with normal tools that you've got around the house, or you can get quite simply from your local DIY shop. So it's really very simple as long as you follow the basic steps. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do both aluminium and carbon arrows. And I'm not going to do wooden arrows for a couple of reasons. Reason one is there are lots and lots of videos out there on YouTube from traditional archers that use wooden arrows, and hundreds of them will show you how to cut down and adjust and even make wooden arrows from scratch. So I'm not going to waste my time doing that. I'm only going to be rehashing somebody else's information, so I'm not going to bother doing that. And the second reason, probably the most important reason, is I don't actually shoot wooden arrows at all. I don't shoot traditional. I shoot aluminium arrows at my club, and I shoot carbon arrows in the woods. I only shoot aluminium arrows at the club because carbon arrows aren't allowed. That's why I do it. So I'm not going to try and give you advice on something I don't really know anything about. As my dad used to say to me, stick to what you know. So that's what we're going to do. We'll do aluminium arrows first because they're easier to do. They're much more robust than carbon ones, and there's a safety aspect we'll go through with the carbon ones that you don't have to worry about with the aluminium. You only need a few tools. All you need is a pair of mold grips, a plumber's pipe cutting tool, which you can pick up from any DIY store. They're about £2. Some hot melt glue. I happen to have a hot melt gun just there because it's more convenient. And a source of heat. Now, I've seen people use big blow lamps to do this kind of thing, and that's just over the top completely. A simple lighter or even a candle will do the job perfectly well. Don't go mad with lots of heat. Too much heat will distort your arrows, so don't do that. Just use something fairly light. All you've got to do is melt the glue down, soften it up so you can get the points in and out. It's really that simple. I'll set up the camera nice and close up now so you can see what I'm actually doing. I'll be back in a minute. Right, as you can see, I've set my arrow up in the vise there. This stuff here you can see, this is anti-slip matting that you can get from any pound shop. All it means is you can put your arrow in a vise, but you don't have to tighten the vise up too tightly to crush the arrow. You see, it grips it nice and tightly. Doesn't move, but doesn't do any damage to the arrow at all. First thing you need to do is take your mold grips and put your mold grips on the point, but put the mold grips on so they sit horizontally like that. You can see I'm not touching those mold grips at all. My hands are here. No. So that's just floating in mid-air. And here's the clever part. You get your lighter and you start to heat just the shaft right next to the mold grips, and you'll find the weight of the mold grips will loosen the point and it'll fall on its own. You ready? Heat that, heat that. There it goes, you see? Then you can just ease the point out. It's as easy as that. So there you go. That's the point removed. Next step, you now need to mark the length of your arrow to the point you need to cut it. If you're replacing some old arrows, it's simply just using your old arrow as a reference point. Put a mark on the shaft of your new arrow so you know where to cut it from. Then take your pipe cutter, open it up, slide it on the shaft, line the cutting blade up with the mark you've put, tighten it up just gently so it cuts, rotate it round, keep rotating it round until it starts to loosen, tighten it a touch more, keep doing it, be nice and gentle with it. You don't have to put loads of pressure on, take your time, and there you go. The end of it cuts off nicely, nice and neat. It's a fairly smooth edge, nice and straight. It's as easy as that. Next job is to put your point back in again. Get your lighter and your point, just heat your point up, get it nice and warm. Then take your hot melt glue or your glue gun, put some hot melt glue on your point. You can be fairly liberal with it, put loads on there, don't really matter, the excess will just squeeze its way out. I always tend to put a little bit on the end as well, like that. Then what we do, just heat up the hot melt glue on your point to make it all nice and liquid and soft. And then once that's ready, slide that into the end of the shaft. Give it a little twist as you go because it spreads the glue a bit better. Slide it all the way down, remove your mold grips, push it all the way home, and that's it done. Now just leave that excess glue there just to go cold. Don't want to burn your fingers. And once it's dry, you can just peel it back off, and that's your aluminium arrows done. Straightforward that, isn't it? Okay, with the carbon one, you can see I've set it up in the vise exactly the same way I have the other one. It's gripped nice and tightly, but not enough to crush the arrow. And I place the mold grips on and horizontally like before. The only difference is with the carbon one, when you use your lighter to warm it up with, don't put the flame directly onto the carbon. Carbon doesn't react too well to high heat. It will start to soften and you'll destroy your arrow. All you do is you heat the end of the point from the other side of the mold grips and slowly let the heat transfer down the inside of the point, inside the carbon. Be quite careful about it and you'll find, there you go, that's now moved, and now we can ease the point out nice and gently. There we go, that one's out. So now we've got to cut the carbon shaft down. Now this is the only point where you do need something that's not a specialist tool. I'll use a Dremel for it, but there are health and safety aspects involved in it. To cut a carbon shaft, carbon itself is a quite nasty material. You will need a mask of some kind, you will need some safety glasses, and wear a pair of gloves. You do not want to get the carbon fibres under your skin, in your eyes, or breathe them in. Please take the safety precautions before you do it. I'm sorry if my voice is a bit muffled, but I've got my face mask on, as I just told you to do. So now I've taken my Dremel, This is the little baby there. What I done is I put a carbide cutting head on it, which comes in as part of the kit. And all you need to do is cut straight through your arrow where you marked it, the same way you did with the aluminium. But you've got to make sure you cut it straight, so keep the shaft of the Dremel in line with the shaft of the arrow and cut straight through in one go. Now I won't be able to talk while I'm doing this because it's quite loud, so bear with me. Here we go. And there we go, it's as simple as that. Next thing you do this exactly the same as we did with the aluminium. Take your hot glue gun and your point. Put some hot glue on your point. Plenty of it. Again, take your lighter. Heat the point up, just to soften the glue a little bit. Not too hot, remember you're dealing with carbon which is sensitive to the heat. And then slide the point back in. Again, twisting it as you go. Try and spread the hot glue as best you can through the whole thing, the last little bit. Push it in all the way. And there you go, done. That's carbon arrows adjusted. It's straightforward, isn't it? You don't need too many tools. It's not too scary or too difficult. There you go. And there you go. That's how you trim down your arrows to make them fit your own draw length. And as you can probably see, it's not too difficult. It's not scary at all. There's no reason why you can't have a go at it yourself. Please do. It'll save you a lot of money in the long run if you can buy your arrows at a preset length and trim them down to your own size. It's much more economical. Please give it a try. Anyway, I've been the Barebow Brummie. If you like what I do, please click the like button down there somewhere. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, please do. I need all the help I can get. Thank you very much. Bye bye.